it's a good decision to keep your hands in your lap. And if you get wiggly, what do? Show me. Remember? If you get wiggly, you go like this. Because sometimes it's hard for me to sit still. Is it hard for you guys to sit still?
Yeah.
It's so hard sometimes. So I get my little wiggly fingers out, and that's what I do to help me. And then the last one is solve. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Solve your own problems, okay? And one of the things that's really important when I work with kiddos is that if somebody else does something that you think is not helpful to learning, okay, the best thing that you can do is ignore it and let me deal with it. Does that make sense? So we're going to solve our own problems. And I'm going to have some assignments for you guys to do today. And if you get confused, I want you to try and solve the problem before coming to ask me. So you ask your partner, try and solve your own problem. Can we do that today, you guys? Okay, good. All right, do you want to know what we're going to learn?
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. So here's what we're going to learn today. The first thing we're going to do is I'm going to read you guys a story, okay? And when I read you the story, I want you to be listening for, touch your little ear like you're listening. I want you to be listening for who's telling the story. Say that. Say that. Who's telling the story? Say it. Who's telling the story? Everybody say that out loud. Who's telling the story? One more time. Who's telling the story? Now the narrator tells the story, right? The narrator. Everybody say narrator. Narrator. And there are two types of narrators. There's a first-person narrator. Say that. First-person narrator. And then there's the third-person narrator. Say third-person narrator. Third-person narrator. So by today, I want you to be able to tell me whether the narrator is a first-person narrator or a third-person narrator. I'm going to teach you what that means, okay? So that's the first thing that we're going to learn. The second thing is you guys are going to rewrite the story. You're going to rewrite the story in first person, okay? So you guys, I'm going to tell you it now. So you guys are going to rewrite the story. Okay? You ready for that? Okay, so let's get quiet hands in our laps. Are you ready to listen to a story? All right, I'm going to tell you a story about the fox and the little red hen. You ready?
I think the story is made up of two stories.
Oh, maybe it is. We'll find out, won't we? All right. What I want you guys to do is I want you to just be thinking. Can you touch your little temple right here and just think? Think, think, think. So remember, Miss Brittany also taught you this. First we think before we speak, right? So put your little finger here to remind yourself. I'm not going to say anything yet. I'm just thinking. I want you to think based on this picture of the fox and this picture of the hen. What kind of fox do you think he is? Just think. Just think. Think, think, think. And then here's the thing. As soon as you have your answer, you can turn your quiet mouth into a thumbs up. Miss Brittany, I'm ready. I know what kind of fox this guy is. Some people are still thinking, give me a thumbs up. I know what kind of fox this is. Okay, turn to your partner and talk. What kind of fox do you think this is? Will you say that? Based on the picture, I think. It looks like he's secretly trying to eat the hen. Give me a little yes if you think that you agree. Do you agree?
Yeah.
All right, so let's see if our prediction here, let's see if the fox is sneaky after all. You ready? All right. Now, what I want you to be listening for, go like this. Listening for. Who's telling the story? Say that. Who's telling the story? So I want you to be thinking about that as I read. Who's telling this story? Is it a character in the story or not? Okay? So I want you to be thinking about that, all right? So I'm reading the story. Who's telling the story? Okay? So here we go. Once upon a time, a little red hen lived by herself in a house near the woods. There she is. On the other side of the woods, a crafty fox lived with his mother in a cave. That's a good question. What does crafty mean? Let's think about that. We'll come back to that after we're done reading the story, okay? Crafty, it's a good question. Crafty is a hard word. All right. Every day, little red hen went into the woods to scratch for food. Every day, Fox watched her and wondered how he could catch her to eat for his supper. So was our prediction that maybe he's a little sneaky? Is he watching her? Clever, sneaky? Do you want to know another word that means sneaky? Crafty. Crafty and sneaky, and what was the word that you used? Clever. They all are similar words. Those are synonyms, okay? So let's keep listening. Who's telling the story? Let's keep listening for that. One morning, Crafty Fox said to his mother, "Have a pot of boiling water ready, for tonight I shall bring Little Red Hen home for supper." Then he picked up a big bag and off he went. What is he gonna do? When Fox came to Little Red Hen's house, she was out in the woods scratching for food. Stealthily, which means sneakily, craftily, cleverly. Stealthily is another word that means the same thing. Fox sneaked into her house. Was our prediction that the fox is sneaky, was our prediction correct based on the details so far? Yes. Hen looks tasty. Yum, yum, yum. Soon, I'll have her in my tum.
What's tummy?
Tummy. He lay under the table, waiting and watching. When Little Red Hen came inside and shut the door, he pounced. With a squawk, Little Red Hen flew up and perched in the rafters, but Fox had a plan to get her down. Faster and faster, around and round, I'll turn and I'll turn till you fall to the ground, said Fox. He began to chase his tail, around and around and around. Fox made Little Red Hen so dizzy that she fell from the rafters. Quickly, Fox stuffed her into his bag and set off for home. What's gonna happen? All right. So, as Fox walked back through the woods, the sun made him hot and tired. He decided to lie down and have a rest. Soon he was snoring. Turn to your partner and tell him, what do you predict is going to happen next? All right, class. Yes. You're doing such a nice job sharing with your partner, and every single time I say class, and I see my little quiet coyote, you guys are coming right back. You're doing such a good job. Our friend over here is going to share, what do you predict? I predict.
That she'll run away.
Say I predict.
I predict that she'll run away, close the door, and then she'll lock the door, and then she'll help herself.
And then she'll help herself. Give me a nod if you agree that you think she's going to escape. Is she going to escape? Let's see, okay? Let's see if our prediction is correct. All right. So, Little Red Hen heard him snoring. Quickly, she wriggled out of the bed. She rolled a big stone into the bag. Bag, not bed. Then she ran home as fast as she could. After a long time, Fox woke up and set off again with the bag over his shoulder. I hear more predictions. The bag was very heavy. What a fat little hen, he thought. What a feast we will have tonight. At last he came to his cave. He called to his mother. Have you got the water ready? Yes, replied Mother Fox. Have you got Little Red Hen? She's right here in my bag, said Fox. Lift off the lid and I'll throw her in. Splash into the pot fell the heavy stone. Oh my! Fox and his mother felt so silly that they never tried to catch Little Red Hen again. She lived safely and happily in her house near the woods for the rest of her life. Okay, so give yourself a pat on the back if your prediction was correct, that she escaped and lived happily ever after. All right, so class, we have one more minute on the carpet before we have something to do. Okay, so can you have quiet little seats? You're welcome to get out your wiggly fingers. Who needs wiggly fingers? All right, let's get those out because I'm going to tell you about narrators, first person versus third person. So when I'm talking about myself, do you hear how I'm talking about myself? I can say this morning, I came to your school to teach. I drove in my car. I got out. Do you see how I'm referring to myself, saying I? That's what a first person narrator is. If a story is told in the first person, it means a character in the story tells the story. So they'll say things like, I did this, I did that. Let's think about this. Who are the characters in this story? Who are the characters? Turn to your partner, and I want you to think back to the story. How many characters are there, and what are their names? As soon as you're ready, you're going to turn toward me quietly, all right? Make sure you and your partner have all the characters. Ready? Go. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Class?
Yes.
All right. So, show me how many fingers, how many characters are there? Show me with your fingers. Show me with your fingers. 3. Great. Who's the first of the characters? Who's the first of the characters? As soon as you have it in your head, think about it. Say it out loud.
Little Red Hen.
Little Red Hen. And actually, since she's the Little Red Hen, we'll put her in red. The Little
Red Hen. All the characters are red.
Okay. Now, think, who's another character? Think of it. As soon as you have it, say it out loud. So I'm going to say the crafty fox. And then there's one more. Think of it. Who is it? Everybody? Mother Fox. Now, I have to ask myself, remember I said that first person means that the character would be telling the story. So I have to go back and I have to reread parts of the story. So I'm going to go back to the first page and I'm going to look. It says, every day, Little Red Hen went into the woods to scratch for food. Every day, Fox watched her and wondered how he could catch her to eat for his supper. Now, I'm going to tell you, these words right here, like her, he, his, those replace the name of the character. And if it was written in first person, the characters would be saying I, not he, her. See what I'm saying? So what I'm going to do is, because these describe the characters, I'm going to put, I found the pronoun her, his, he. So far, do we see any I?
No.
I, the hen, I, the fox. Do we see that? Let's go back to see at the very end. And by the way, I found these on page 5. So I'm going to put that right here. Page 5. And this is on page 5 too. It's the wrong color, but that's okay. Now let's skip to the back of the book and let's see about Mother Fox. I see on page 23 it says Fox and his mother, his. Is that another one? His that describes the fox? Okay. And then, and page 23, you guys got it? And we're going to see her. So, I'm going to put the page number over here. So, what I'm showing you is that when the characters are described with these pronouns, all of them, did any one of these characters tell the story? I want you to turn to the partner and answer the question. Do your best. Did any one of these characters tell the story?
No.
Go ahead and tell me how you know. Turn to your partner, tell your partner first. Did you see those quotation marks? Yes, and it says I. But if it's not in quotation marks, it's still in first person. So that right there tells me that the narrator is quoting the character. Do you see that? Did you? Okay, now hang on a second. So, do you guys think that any of the characters told this story?
Yes, fox.
You think the fox did?
Yes.
He said I, but it's in quotation marks. That's right. But if you see I only inside those quotation marks, you see make quotation marks like that.
No.
Go like that. If you see I only in quotation marks, it's still going to be third person. It still means that there's a narrator, we don't know who it is. It's not one of the characters. Hang on, I'm going to ask for your prediction after, okay? All right, class?
Yes, yes.
All right, so I'm going to tell you something real interesting here. Okay? Sometimes in stories we hear characters say I, but there's one more rule. If that I only happens on the inside of quotation marks, go like this, quotation marks. If it only happens on the inside, that still means the character's not telling the story. It's someone else. And that's called the narrator. Everybody say narrator. Narrator. Very good. And so in this story, I know that if I continue to read through here, that the little hen never said I, except for when it was in quotation marks. Do you agree? Okay, so did the little hen tell the story? No, she did not. Did the fox ever say I, except in quotation marks?
No.
No, he did not. He did not. And so did the fox tell the story?
No.
No. And Mother Fox?
No.
She did not tell the story either. So if none of the characters told the story, who tells the story then? Turn to your partner and tell them, who's telling this story? All right, class. All right, class. All right. So when I read this story, because I don't see any one of these characters saying I in the story, that signals to me that this is a third-person narrator, which means we don't know who it is. The author chose to have a narrator that's not a character. We'll never know who the narrator is. It's just a third-person narrator. But you can switch it around. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. In a moment, I'm going to have you guys go back to your desks, and I'm going to have you copy what I have on my poster right here on your paper. Okay? And I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to do that. And then I'm going to give you another assignment. Do you want to know what it is? With your table partner, your desk partner. We as a class, we're going to rewrite the story. We're going to rewrite the story. But guess how we're going to rewrite it?
Different.
We're going to rewrite it together from the point of view or perspective of the hen. So we're going to rewrite the story and put it into first person as if the hen told the story. So she'll say things like, I woke up one day and the fox came to my house. See how we're going to rewrite it in a different perspective? With I, all right? But first, what you're going to do is you're going to stand up, you're going to go back to your desks, you're going to write the characters here, and you're going to put the pronouns that were used to describe them, okay? Let's do that. Let's take care of our bodies, make good decisions. I'll see you in your
I
desk.
have a question. Can you put that over there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I have a question for you.